Hello, my name is Fieser. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Southern California in the chemistry department, and my research focuses on addressing plastic circularity. So one of the most challenging things about plastics is that they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. They're different types of chemical structures. They're formed into different shapes. They're mixed with other types of materials such as metals, glass, and other things. And this mixture of materials is what makes recycling so challenging, because not only do we need to sort these materials, but then we also have to think about all the other things that might be present in those items, such as dyes to make them colored, or the shape and physical properties that they have. And this makes it very challenging on the recycling side. Okay, so as my role as a faculty member, my job is to educate students on how they can be part of the solution. And I'm hopeful for the challenges of plastic circularity, because the students that I get to work with are so motivated and energized to be part of the solution, and they really work to push boundaries and learn what types of jobs they can have that can lead to these changes. And what I think is also exciting is that the general public have finally really started to latch on to this idea that plastic pollution has problems that we need to address. And I think with our perception and our ability to really view these challenges as a global problem, maybe we can start really making changes in our consumer behavior, but also convincing industry and governments to also make adjustments as well, so that we can have a true scalable solution. So the energy from this future generations is really what makes me very hopeful for problems in plastic pollution. When I think about the biggest challenges in plastic circularity, I think about the science and I think about social use of plastics. So on the social use of plastics, I think general populations struggle to understand the rules of what they should put in a recycling bin versus a trash can, what they should be purchasing and what they shouldn't be purchasing. I think education and overall general knowledge of what is the right thing to do often is the biggest hurdle. A lot of times I will meet with people who really want to make the right purchases, they want to throw things in the right bin, they want to follow the rules, but oftentimes those rules are difficult to find, especially when you're traveling or moving from place to place. So you may know what the rules are in your house, but then you can go to a county just next door and not necessarily know how things have changed as you move throughout the world. On the science side, I think our biggest challenge is faced in mixed materials. So things that are mixed together that are challenging to separate. This makes it really difficult from a scientific perspective to be able to recycle these materials effectively for a good life. And so a lot of technology is being developed right now to try and generate products that have a single type of material so that they're easier to separate and easier to recycle. And that's a future generation of materials that might make a difference in commercial behavior. What a tough question. I think that it's really difficult to assess the burden for who is responsible, because I think we all, to some degree, are responsible for our consumption. Companies make things, we buy them, and if we keep buying them, then they'll keep making them. So part of it is that the general public, we use items that make our lives easier and faster and cheaper, and therefore industry is going to keep making those materials. So it's almost like a chicken or the egg question. Who is responsible? Honestly, everyone. I think the general public needs to start making changes in our daily lives, trying to purchase the right things, and when we don't know, we need to push back and ask questions about what is the best thing that we can do for the environment. And industry needs to be a bit more conscientious of the waste that they are putting into the world as well, and make smarter choices for not just their profits, but also the environmental impact of what they produce. You can also think about other organizations such as schools being important for the education of students, knowing what they should think about when they're learning how to buy and purchase and go through life. And then government also needs to communicate broadly across the world to make sure that it's not just isolated to generating rules and ideas within one country or even one region, but across the globe, that we can all work together to understand the best solutions that fit for our economic status, our production, and our overall daily lives. So ultimately, the goal should be a collective effort that we work together to make sure that our lives still match what we need. Our health is important, our food sources are important, but also try to take care of our planet in the best way that we can. I believe that the one thing that I would change about our current society that would make the biggest difference in plastic circularity would be communication. And I think that if we, across the globe, communicated effectively with each other, found the best ways to make changes with the technology that already exists, that we could make a really big impact on the amount of waste that we produce and minimize the changes on our daily lives as much as possible. And that really comes with communication across global leaders that then communicate down to the general public, so everybody knows what role they have to play, how they can be part of the solution. It's not confusing, it's direct and easy to follow. And if we can follow that general perception of organizing and collectively taking responsibility and making that change together, I think that we can make a really big difference.